guys, Andy here again from Mad Lad Designs, continuing the playthrough of Warhammer Quest, the adventure card game. But before we begin, there's just a couple of things to clear up. Thanks to Scott Smart for pointing these out. And the first one is when I was taking the Ironbreaker's second action and I was using Explore. I thought I was using the attack action and I went through all the attack things and managed to catch it in the end, and like I reversed everything back, but I didn't carry on going down the card, so I forgot to draw a dungeon card after I explored. So I am going to do that right now. And we have Improved Shield. You may discard this card before a hero's action for that hero to roll one fewer enemy dice. That's good. Also, I'm just going to put this back. I think I'll keep this. And also, if you notice, it has a little gold coin in the corner. If ever you draw an event card, a dungeon card, which has a little gold coin in the corner, you can draw a gear card. So let's see what gear we have, and it is the Oaken Circlet. Before your activation, recover one wound, limit once per round. So I can recover one wound per round to whoever is wearing this helmet. I think I will give it to who shall I give it to? I'll give it to the Weirwatcher, I think. And this, it doesn't matter who I give it to. I'll give it to the Ironbreaker. Cool. So, thank you, Scott, for pointing that out. You should follow the card all the way down, and I didn't. So that is the dungeon card resolved. Next up, we have a bit of concern about what happens to face down enemies in the shadows. Can they be exhausted? Because if we look at this Orc Boy, it says this enemy can exhaust only after it activates. So you cannot use a card that says exhaust one enemy. You cannot use that card to exhaust the Orc Boy. So when you exhaust a face down card in the shadows, how do you know it's not an Orc Boy? Okay, do you need to flip it up to check whether you can exhaust it? And the answer is no. Let me put this back. A face down card in the shadows is considered a general non-specific card. If you imagine it's got a blank face, there's nothing on the face of it. So you can exhaust face down enemies in the shadows because you don't know what it is. So you don't need to turn it up, check whether you can or not, then flip it face down. You can automatically exhaust because face down cards are considered, like I've just mentioned, just specific, general, non-ranking. It doesn't matter whether that's just a standard enemy, whether it's an elite enemy, or even if it's a nemesis face down in the shadows. Okay, doesn't matter. When it's face down, it's all considered the same thing, which is like a blank card. So yes, you can exhaust face down cards in the shadows, and no, you don't need to turn them up to see if you can exhaust them. The only time you will flip these face up is whether you are drawing one down to you to engage it, then you'll need to flip it up, or whether it's unexhausted and it's the enemy phase and they're going to attack. So that'll, whichever is the active player, that will go to the active player. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, and we will continue on with the next round. So we have the first player marker is the Weirwatcher, so it's the Weirwatcher's turn, and they are going to, I think they will explore with Orion's Hunt, because we need to get through the location So we are going to roll 2 die. We do not have an enemy on us, so we don't need to roll any black die. So 2 dice, see what we get. So we get 2 successes, which means another 2 on the location. That's not there. So we have 6 on the location, and of course we keep going down with the card. Draw and resolve 1 dungeon card. Perilous path, oh dear. The ground is unsteady, ready to give way at any moment. It appears to lead towards the way out, however. You may add 2 progression to the location. If you do, roll 1 enemy die. On a claw, suffer 1 wound and become bleeding. We only need 1 more on our location. Is it worth suffering this? Let me give me a minute just to think about this. Okay, after a lot of thought, I am going to take this. The reason being is that on the Ironbreaker's turn, he only has 1 action left, which is aid. And when I become bleeding, the bleeding condition says remove that condition as soon as somebody aids you. So yes, I am going to do this. So the Way Watcher is going to add 2 progression tokens to the location. Like so. But we do roll a black die and see what happens. And it's blank. So I don't even get the condition. Nice. So fantastic. Okay, what's next on the card? It says you may exhaust 1 non-nemesis enemy in the shadows. So as I was just saying previously, I can exhaust this one, I can exhaust this one, and I can also exhaust this one if I wanted, because this is just a generic one until it turns face up and we see what it is. So let us, I'm going to actually exhaust one of the spiders, because they exhaust 1 action of the hero. And I think that's it for Orion's Hunt, and of course it's been taken. So we move on to the Ironbreaker. The Ironbreaker, the only action he can do is shield wall. So I can aid. And it says before this action you may engage 1 enemy. Engage with the target hero. Target hero doesn't have any enemies. So I am going to roll 1 white die. But of course I've got the Orc Boy. 1 black die. Let's see what we've got. Oh, we can use the shield. So I can roll 1 less die, but can you use it so you don't roll any black die, or do you always have to roll at least 1 if you've got an enemy? I don't know. I don't know. So if any of you guys know that, do you have to roll at least 1 die if you've got an enemy on, or could I use this and roll no enemy dice? But I'm not going to use it for now because I don't know. Right, so let's have a look. Shield wall, I'm going to aid. And we get a blank, so the Orc Boy is not going to attack. We do get 1 success. And we are going to put it on, let's put it on Orion's Hunt to explore. Okay, so yes, you can put success tokens on exhausted cards. Move those out of the way. The target hero may ready one action. Okay. Once I've done that, we ready all of my actions. So we will put Orion's Hunt back, and now ready all my actions. So then we move over to the Waywatcher's second turn, which is there. Before the activation, because we haven't done it yet, we're going to use this circlet, which allows me to remove one wound. What can we do? We don't need to explore, because that's fully explored, and we will attack, because we have a ranged attack. So I will attack one of these enemies in the shadows, and I'll go for this spider. Okay, so we are rolling one die. We don't have an enemy on me, so we don't need to roll a black die. We're going for this, and let's see what we get. We get one hit. One hit. And of course that's deadly shot, but it has the little icon at the bottom, so it automatically refreshes, as does Watchful Sprites. Moving on. Should we attack this Orc Boy? Yes, I think we'll attack this Orc Boy. So we will use our attack. I may engage up to 2 enemies, so I can bring 2 enemies down to me, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring the spider, and I'm going to bring this one, and because I've brought it down I need to flip it up and take a look. Giant spider. So I'm going to use the 2 die to attack. I am going to use the shield, so I roll 1 fewer black die. I have 3 enemies, so I'm only going to be using 2 black die because of the shield. Let's see what we get. And of course we get claws, so Orc Boy is going to attack, and because it's going to do 2 damage, this spider is going to do 1 damage, and this spider is going to do 2 damage, and we always go with the highest damage first. We have 1 success and a burst, so I can re-roll this one. So we have 3 successes. 3 successes that I can target 2 enemies with. Let's go with one, two, 3. So that kills the giant spider. And let's put 2 on. Putting the wrong things on. Let's put 2 on this spider. And that's it for the attack that is used. And that is it for the hero's turn. It now becomes the enemy's turn. So starting with our first player, do they have a hero? Do they have an enemy on them? No. So they must draw 1 from the shadows. However, the only one left in the shadows is exhausted. So we are going to skip, because you don't pull exhausted enemies down. So the Waywatcher is going to skip because they have no enemies. The Ironbreaker, he has 2 enemies on him. Okay, let's go with the Orc Boy first. And in the enemy bar in the centre, it just says advance. So if it was in the shadows, it would advance. However, it's already there, so it exhausts. Go over to the Way Watcher. The Way Watcher can't do anything. No enemies to pull down. So that enemy phase is skipped there. Back to the Ironbreaker. The Ironbreaker has the giant spider. The giant spider says it's going to inflict. Okay, so we have now 4 wounds. And then it is going to ensnare. And it says if this enemy is in the shadows, exhaust 1 action. Well, it's not in the shadows, so we can skip that. But it is going to retreat to the shadows and then exhaust. So that is the enemy phase over with. All enemies have activated as far as I'm aware. Yep, they have. Next up is the location phase. So looking at the location, is there a start of a location phase? Nope, there's no start of location phase. The next part is, can we move? Do we have enough tokens that we can move? Yes, we do. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 8 tokens, so we've got more than we need to move on. So we are going to move to the next location. So our next location is Winding Tunnels. The tunnels branch and fork and double back upon themselves. A wrong turn could lead to disaster. At the end of the location phase, the party leader may discard 2 progress from this location. If he does not, spawn 1 enemy face down in the shadows. So we need 6 to explore this location. It's going to bring out 2 enemies that are going to engage with the heroes and 1 enemy in the shadows. Now, when moving from one location to another, as far as I'm aware, any non-nemesis creatures in the shadows are discarded. They don't follow you to the next location. Okay, I think that's correct. If someone wants to tell me whether it is or not, I'd be grateful. But as far as I'm aware, these are just discarded because they are in the shadows. But we do need 2 enemies distributed among our heroes. So the first enemy is going to go there, the second enemy is going to go there. So the first enemy for the Way Watcher is going to be a giant bat. Okay, that is for the Way Watcher, and for the Ironbreaker he's going to have a clan rat. Okay, lovely fella. So that's got to pay. Oh yes, and at the end of the enemy phase, of course, we need to unexhaust. And 1 is going to spawn in the shadows. Okay, so that is the location part done with. Next up we have the Peril Tracker. So the Peril Tracker is going to move up 1, which means we are now on the green portion. So we are going to be looking at the green area here to see what happens. A grinning goblin steps into view.
This is Grump's place.
He waves a nasty, filthy, smeared dagger at you.
Zog off, or I is gonna shank ya with me shank.
Okay, so we need to spawn Odious Grump. So now Odious Grump comes out from hiding and he is going to spawn to the player with the first player marker, and that just happens to be the Way Watcher. So now Odious Grump is out, so we've got him to tackle as well. And that is it, I think, for round 2. Hopefully I've done everything correctly. I'm sure you guys will point out all the mistakes I've done. So, just a few things is the first player marker now moves over to the Ironbreaker, or Gimli as I think I'll call him. If you can think of a better name for the dwarf than Gimli. Yeah, that's it. So until the next round, I will catch you guys later.